Growing up, I always wanted to stay up late, but my parents wouldn't allow it. So when I was really young, it was 8 o'clock bedtime. And then finally 9 o'clock when I was in middle school. And finally 10 o'clock when I was in high school. And yet I was always wanting more and more to stay up later and later. And so when I went to college, no parents. So I'm at Denny's at 3 in the morning. And what I realized was when I did that, I wasn't any good for class the next day. I wasn't any good to go to work. And if I didn't have either of those two things, I'd sleep half the day and lose all the sunlight. And so after a while, I decided to go back to going to bed at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Not because someone stated a law or was watching over me, but my heart was changed. And in the same way, Jesus is our King, only if our hearts are changed. In the gospel reading, we have Jesus crucified, and yet a week before that, Jesus had just thrown out all the money changers in the temple and said, "Stop making my house a den of thieves." And so he did this. He went, laid down the law, told people what to do, made them do it, and yet their hearts weren't changed. Because no sooner does he throw them all out than the leaders are conspiring to murder him, and only are prevented because of the crowds. And now that the crowds are away, now's our chance. And so they crucify him. It never is good enough if we have to watch over to try and be good. And that's what happens in the first reading, where the Israelites had demanded a king, and the prophet Samuel said, "You don't want a king. God's your king." No, we need a king. So they finally give him King Saul, and Saul's a bust. His children who will reign after him are a bust. And so rather than remaining with him as king, they go over and want King David. And let's be honest with ourselves. Yeah, King David did great. Solomon did pretty well too. But by the third King David's grandson, they were done. And they left and didn't want him anymore to be their king. Jesus Christ is asking to be a king. But the only way a kingship works is not if the king has to watch over you 24/7. It only works if in your heart you want to change. And by being placed up on the cross, he is not demanding. He is not dictating. Instead, he's inviting us to look upon what our sins have done and change. That is what Jesus is doing, and here he is still in the midst of a den of thieves, but yet he's doing something different. And this one criminal wants to go back to the way things are, just let me down off the cross, and the other one has his heart changed. And in the midst of this den of thieves, he is changed. And that is the invitation for all of us. I mean, we sometimes do things wrong, and you can always point, well, there's a rule, there's a catechism, there's the 10 Commandments, there's this. And if all it is following some rules, then Jesus Christ no longer is really king of our hearts. Instead, the rules are. Jesus is inviting us to change our hearts, because when we change our hearts, then 24/7 we'll be his followers. 24/7 we'll put Christ first. Indeed, he will be a king. As this feast of Christ the King is presented to us, it is something that invites us to ask ourselves, who really is king of our hearts? And if Jesus Christ truly is king, then we're not guided by any law, because we'll do it automatically out of the goodness of our hearts.